If there's one man I know will probably always be in attendance at the Detroit Auto Show, it's Tim Stevens. Okay, CNET's Brian Cooley also, but still, Tim, I know you were there this year. Tell us about a few of the cool things that really caught your eyes this week. It looks like autonomous functionality has been a huge thread, to say the least.
It's definitely been a big story, and it's great to see not only reports of autonomous functionality coming down the road, like I mentioned before, talking about his car that works, a fully autonomous car that works in the snow, but also we saw two cars here that are talking about autonomous functionality coming to the road this year. The first is the Mercedes-Benz E-Class, which is Mercedes' mid-tier car. You know, it's not their most expensive car, not their cheapest car, but they're using this as a platform to show off a lot of cool new technology. The most talked about functionality being semi-autonomous functionality, pretty similar to what Tesla has in their cars, where the car can go up to 80 miles an hour on the highway and effectively drive itself on the highway. It'll speed up or slow down based on traffic around you. It'll even read speed limit signs with the cameras built into the car. And so if you have your cruise control set and you come out to a slower speed limit, the car will slow down for you and potentially save you a speeding ticket, which is a good thing. You can change lanes just by hitting the turn signal, again, a lot like the Tesla Model S. And ultimately, it's a really advanced, really impressive car. Now, this is semi-autonomous, so the car is expecting you to keep your hands on the wheel and still be paying attention. In fact, if you take your hands off the wheel, it'll start beeping at you, which is, it'll keep you warned and make sure that you are paying attention. And unlike the Tesla, you cannot turn that beeping off, which honestly is probably for the best. But that's great to see that is, again, coming to dealer lots this year. And again, not on Mercedes' most expensive car. The other car that has similar functionality to that is the Volvo S90. Again, up to 80 miles an hour, it'll do cruise control on the highway, basically speed up or slow down based on traffic and steer around corners. But the difference between these two is that the S90 from Volvo should be a little bit more affordable, and also that's going to be standard functionality on that S90. Every single S90 on the road will have this functionality built in, which is great to see. It's also an absolutely gorgeous car. This is a car that's it's really telemarking Volvo's new design language that they brought to market with the XC90 last year. It's a gorgeous looking car, and it's got some great technology built in. So I just drove the XC90, which actually was our pick for car of the year. We had our first Shift Awards, which is where we gave away our picks for best tech and things like that last year. And the XC90 from Volvo won our car of the year. So I think the S90 is a strong contender for 2016.
It's a sharp-looking vehicle. Now, when you say that it's monitoring the road and it sees, the change in speed limit, like how far off in the distance is this happening? Like, is it the second it recognizes it starts to ramp down? Do you happen to know kind of at what tempo that happens?
That's a big question that we weren't able to get a lot of clarity on. I'm also wondering if you can set maintain 5 miles an hour over the speed limit or something like that, which I'm guessing is what they'll allow you to do, because these systems will read the speed limit, of course, and they'll know that you're speeding, but they will allow you to go faster. So I'm curious how that interaction works too. But no, it's unclear exactly how quickly or slowly the car will decelerate. I'm guessing it'll gradually make the deceleration when it recognizes that sign, and it can see quite a ways down the road. I guess at least 100 yards, if not more.
Right. Now, we did talk last week a little bit about the Bolt, which made news during the CES news cycle. Tell us a little bit about what you saw here.
Right, so the Bolt was unveiled formally, this B-O-L-T, not V-O-L-T, was unveiled formally in Las Vegas last week, but we got a little bit more details about that car this week. That car will support fast DC charging, which means it'll get a 90-mile charge in just 30 minutes, which is a pretty good deal if you want to make a longer trip in the car or something like that. But overall, it's looking like a really great option for those people who kind of want to get into the EV game but have been waiting for a car that has a little bit more mileage than your average lower-cost EV, like the Mitsubishi i-MiEV or the BMW i3, that kind of thing. 200 miles for $30,000 is a great deal. But it's also got a lot of cool technology built into. It's got Bluetooth low energy, so it'll recognize you based on your phone in your pocket as you're approaching the car. It'll personalize the interface in the car based on your settings. So you can go and you can customize the UI in the center of the console there. You can choose your favorite color. You can choose widgets and drag them and drop them around. And when the car recognizes you, it'll have that ready to go. So as soon as you get in the car will be paired to your phone and ready to roll. Unlike current cars, you have to turn the car on, wait for Bluetooth to turn on, wait for it to sync to your phone, and then at that point you can drive away. It'll be a much quicker, a much better experience overall. So that's pretty cool. That's going to production at the end of 2016. It'll be available nationwide the end of the year, beginning of next year, something like that.
I'm curious what you thought about the gamification aspect of it. I know it has like a dashboard where you can compete with others on how on your charge. What did you think of that?
We've seen that kind of thing in the past, and ultimately, it's kind of a cute, fun thing, but ultimately, it's not something that we see a lot of traction on. So the Volt had similar functionality, and we've seen that from other EVs too. If this thing sells millions and millions and millions, then maybe that'll be a little bit more popular. But we'll see. Like I said before, I feel like gamification is something that's not quite as hip as it was just a couple of years ago.
Yeah. And then the one question I have is, okay, so it changes all of these things based on the Bluetooth that's in your pocket if you're the driver. What if the car is co-owned and you both have a phone in your pocket and you both have Bluetooth and it connects? And what about that?
Well, so long as you're not sharing the same phone, then you'll be fine. If you both have the same phone, then at that point it's going to get a little confused about who's driving the car at the moment. But it'll recognize you personally based on your phone. So you can customize everything, and then it'll be based on your phone, which will effectively act like a digital key. And then if your partner has a different phone, it'll pair based on them. And you can also, they talked about the functionality of being able to add digital keys and basically being able to add the right for someone to come in and unlock the car and give them a digital key that'll sit on their phone, much like you can do with a lot of the smart door locks on the market right now. So you could let your brother-in-law borrow the car for 4 hours on Sunday afternoon, and after those 4 hours are up, their key will stop working and they'll no longer be able to access the car. So that's an interesting idea. Nice. We're waiting to find out exactly how this is going to work. But GM and Chevy did announce a partnership with Lyft at CES. And I think that ties in pretty well with that as well, basically making it more easy for you to use your car in a car-sharing environment. So again, we're waiting to learn a little bit more about that, but they're trying to be pretty progressive with this car, and not only in terms of pricing and range, but also in terms of the technology in the car, and I think that's great.